It's possible to get great footage using even the most basic of cameras. The flip camera is a small, lightweight video recorder that is simple to use and very portable. The flip is easy enough for anyone to use, but that doesn't mean that every user is going to get great results. This instructional video will share some tips and hints for getting the best possible footage so that the story you're filming can have maximum impact. If you're using a more advanced camera, these suggestions and ideas should be useful to you as well. Let's get started. The most important thing you can do as a videographer is to be prepared for your shoot. Go over an interview in your mind, or better yet, do a practice run-through with a friend or a coworker. Consider your filming location. Are there distracting background sounds? Is it too dark, or is your subject bathed in an unpleasant overhead light? Are you filming in front of an interesting or a textured background? Being prepared also means thinking about the questions you want to ask and anticipating follow-up questions. You might also consider coming up with a simple shot list so that you have the footage you need to assemble an interesting interview. A shot list is a list of shots that you want to be sure to get when you film. Lastly, being prepared requires some logistics. Do you have extra copies of your video release? Is your camera fully charged? Do you have enough tape or memory for the entire interview? The more you prepare, the better your footage will be. Getting good video footage starts with getting clear, understandable audio. If your audience can't understand what your interviewee is saying, or if they're distracted by background noises, their message and your video's impact are compromised. Some audio problems can be fixed in post-production when a video is being edited, but you should always strive to capture the best possible sound when you're recording. The flip camera has a built-in wide-range microphone. It does a good job of capturing sound in a variety of filming situations. However, here are some tips to getting the best possible sound. While filming a question and answer style interview, choose a location that is relatively quiet and free of distracting sounds, and especially wind. Position your subject close to the camera. The more distance between your interviewee and the camera, the more their voice will dissipate before reaching the microphone.
This is what I sound like at 3 feet. This is what I sound like at 6 feet. This is what I sound like at 12 feet.
Encourage your subject to speak up and project their voice, especially if they're a quiet person.
That was great, but I'm wondering if you can say it again, this time a little bit louder, just in case the camera didn't get you.
Okay.
After each interview, record 30 seconds of quiet. This is called room tone, and while it sounds like silence to our ears, the audio from this footage can be used in a variety of useful ways when it comes time to edit the interview. Getting good video footage also involves making wise decisions about the composition of your shots. Always be thinking about how to create interesting images. Here are some things you should consider. Frame your subject wisely. An interview where your subject is too far away loses out on the emotions of their speech. Consider taking multiple compositions of an interview. An establishing or long shot sets up the location and orientation of the subjects. A medium shot is good for situations where a subject is moving, gesturing, or interacting with another person. A close-up is ideal when you want to create complete attention on the subject. Zooming in and out is overused and it should be avoided, especially on the flip camera, which uses a digital zoom to magnify the image. If you are going to use zoom, do it between shots when your interviewee isn't speaking, or use a slow, subtle zoom. Lighting also contributes to a good-looking image. The flip camera should work in a variety of lighting conditions, but if possible, avoid filming your subject in backlight situations, such as in front of a bright window. Instead, try to have more light on your subject than on the background. If possible, you should also avoid unflattering fluorescent or halogen lighting. Lastly, consider using a tripod. Camera shake can be a distraction, especially during a stationary interview. A tripod is a simple way to increase the quality of your video. However, don't be afraid to go handheld in situations where your subject is moving. A small amount of camera shake is much more acceptable when your subject is performing an action. And speaking of action, video is the perfect medium for showing rather than just telling. Although it might take more work on your part, Try to film your subject doing something in addition to talking about something. B-roll is footage that will be intercut with the main shot in an interview. The footage is usually connected to the content or theme of the interview. It can be as simple as a person typing at a keyboard or entering a health center. In fact, most of the footage in this video training is B-roll. Photos and images can also make for great B-roll and are potential resources for telling your story. It's also important to be aware of legal and privacy issues while filming video. Be sure to have anyone featured in your video sign a release form. Be aware of privacy and HIPAA concerns, especially while filming near or in a health center. Avoid prominent advertisements, logos, or filming things like license plates or street addresses. It's also a good idea to have your interviewee say and then spell their name on camera. You can also ask them how they want to be identified in the video. Can we start by saying and then spelling your name?
Evan Lucky, EvanLuckey.
And in the video, how would you like to be identified?
You can identify me with my first name, Evan, and also as a patient.
This will not only connect them to the release, it will also give your video editor the correct pronunciation and spelling for on-screen titles. After you're done filming, it's time to log and organize your clips. Connect the camera to your computer and open the software that comes with the flip. Your first task is deciding which interviews you'd like to use. You should preview your footage, add a descriptive title for each clip, and then select the clips you'd like to pass on for editing. If you're sending your footage by returning the flip, you can delete the footage you don't want to use from the camera. You might want to save a copy of your video files to your computer first. If you're uploading your clips or sending them by DVD, consider making a folder or an album of only the files you want to pass along. After you're done naming and organizing your footage, the last step is logging each clip's contents. Logging your video allows the editor to quickly and easily find and use your best footage while assembling the final video. Logging your clips is simple. Identify the name of the clip. If your camera produces timecode, you can add that as well. And then provide a detailed description of the clip's content. Include things like what a subject did or said, a quick description of the location, and any comments that you think might be useful to the editor. For example, notes about lighting, sound, if it was a close-up or if it was a long shot, if it's a B-roll footage, or if you think the clip was especially good or noteworthy. You're well on your way to knowing how to take great video, but getting good material takes practice. After you're done filming a shoot, review your footage on a computer and see how it turned out. You'll learn from your mistakes and your successes. Well, hopefully this has been a useful introduction to taking great video. Now it's time to go out there and capture people's stories. Good luck.